done. I never like to mix up too much in one go. The more you mix up, exothermic reaction, the more it will heat up, As it starts producing heat, that warms it up, which makes it go off faster, producing more and more heat. So the more you mix up, the hotter it will get. Faster, Right, move that out of the way. I don't want to drop catalysed stuff into me good tub there of new resin filler. A little thinner than the other side on the front, but I'm not going to build all that up with filler. What's happening? A nice little build up, not too much, so that once I pop the windows out and just run a quick sandage around there, straighten that edge up so it don't look all cruddy. Put it on and then pretty much scrape it off. Hopefully it just fills in the low spots. I'll build up there a couple of places to try and fill them. Scrape it off now. I'll leave that little ridge there where I've wiped it, and I'll sand that out. Otherwise you keep putting it on and taking it off again, end up, no build up and having to do it again. Leave a bit of build up there to sand, otherwise it'll end up too low and I'll just have to put another layer on. Right, so I need a bit on this top edge because this is too rough. If I paint that like that, you'll see ripples. I'll fill that over. Much easier to lay it on quite thick and then scrape it off. This is why I ascertained the whole lot, so that I could go over any little imperfections that need doing. There's a couple of little marks and blemishes that I wanted to fill, not loads but a few. Bit ripply up here as well, so give that another go. I've got plenty left over at the moment. Too much, in fact. Started mixing up, nowhere near enough. And then overdid it. It's always the way. Never mind. It's not worth going too mad up here. I'll have hatch poking through when I've done. The hatch is going to cut that out, and I'll have a lip sticking through there, won't I? So let's leave that there, I think. Yeah, that's some cheese holes everywhere. So just work that in. Like so. Run that across there. That's a radius that's rounded, so seeing the edges on the filler. You've got to try and lose them. It's easier to lose them if they're all together. Scrape that. It's pretty much right off. Don't want any build up. I'm not looking to build anything there. I just want to fill the holes. That'll be sanded. See if we get rid of that. So there we go. Right. Spot there. Following it, try not to let your hand follow that low spot as you run over the top. Release a bit of pressure so you don't sink and follow it, otherwise you just push the filler back into the low spot and it remains low. There's the other issue. I've got a radius there. Every time you go into that corner with a spreader, it cuts a line into it. So get enough on there, and then you can run your thumb or finger down it to just give that the curve, and then you can sand the lip off the sides. So I'm going to leave that like that, I think. Really good. Have you there. The problem is very hard to see. You've got the sunlight coming through the window. Thumb's melted. So you try and touch up one bit, you touch another bit with a spreader. Before you know it, the bit that you had looking good now looks like crap. Yeah. Right, that's all ready to leave to set up now, and then we can do a bit more sanding. Yay! Right, I have got just a little bit left, which I can wipe up here. Get it into the corner or the edge. Scrape it off the sides. Any sort of build up there. So. This bit here is rather rough. So I'm going to stick a little bit over there, use this up basically, cover that. I don't want the glass showing through before I gel coat it because that will show up the weave. Well, we are almost done with the underside of the deck. It's the final bits now, just getting it finished and looking good. Right, I'm going to leave that alone now, let that set up. As you get these little peaks, they drip over, and then what happens is it pulls away the material that you wanted in there, and you end up with a little dip. Yeah, and that's another little bit that you'll have to fill next time. Well, that's pretty good. We've covered all of that, all the little pinholes that were up here. I haven't gone over all of it, you know, just the ones up would see. But we've covered the sides, the front, under there where the glass was done. So we're looking pretty good now. I'm quietly confident. I think that's the last lot of filler I'll need on this. I don't think I'll need to bother with the fairing compound afterwards, hopefully. So I'm hoping that will do that, and we won't need to worry about it. There drips, look, let out. Yeah, we've got a nice little build up there, so we'll let that set up. We've got some sanding up here to do, but I've just put some wet stuff around the edge, so I can't do that. Pretty much hands off now, other than a bit of tidying up, really. Do some more sanding under here, start prepping that, I suppose. But I'm going to have some lunch first and a cup of coffee. Well earned, I think. There you go, see if I can get a view. What we got? No, I can't. Really awkward to get a good view because the sun coming through the window. But there you go, so you can see she's all coated. I've gone into this radius up here. I've left the peak there, so where I've wiped it out, that'll just sand off and that'll nib off pretty quickly. So then hopefully we'll get a flat edge on here, a radius into that edge there, and that'll all look nice. I'll put a little bit up here just to smooth that out because it felt a little glass rough Not terrible, but it weren't perfect. This bit, there was no pinholes, I've not bothered with that. Couple of little lines here, so I've filled them. So yeah, we're looking good. That's ready for another sanding, which is going to take me another hour or two to nib that all down. But this is probably going to be easier than the last lot that I put on. The last lot was just filling some of the pits and voids that were there. This lot should just be levelling out now, so it should make it a lot more even looking. So what we've got now is we've got a thick bit here, continuing pretty thick all the way through there, down to that side. So instead of thinning out in the middle, we've built it up there, so that it looks straight. Same down this edge, same in the middle there. You know what I mean? This one thins out a little bit there, but I'm not going to go for too much of a build up. I don't want it to flex and pop and big chunk of filler fall out. But there you go. So hopefully once that's done, that'll look a lot better. Right, it's lunchtime. I'll be back later. Okay, so just a quick look. It's set up now. It's still a little bit tacky. It's literally tacky enough. I mean, if I needed to, I could hot coat on it, but it's not quite set enough so I can sand it. So the only bit I had left to do was sand that, but I'm done for the day. I've got this all filled. It needs sanding. I'll do it next time. I can't be bothered to start sanding that bit because I've got to get up to the edge there. I'm going to hit the edge of this. This will gum up the paper because it's still wet, you know. So I'll leave it for now and I'll sand all that next time. So we've got to sand that and down that edge, sand this little bit, and then finish sanding the front again. So the whole thing that I sanded this morning has got to be sanded again, you know, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a finish on it that doesn't require any more fairing. You know, we'll see. But it's looking pretty good. I've got a good coverage all the way around. I'm hoping that that's built up enough that I can sand back and lose any imperfections. You know, a nice, very thin smear in this centre, so that should be quite straightforward. A little bit heavier in a couple of spots here where I had a nice, nasty sort of dish. You know, so we filled that out a little bit. So I've got to go round the edges of the windows again, and then down here. So I'll try and basically square this up so I can get it a nice shape, you know, and it's all nice and smooth. And finish all this off. It's dry enough to touch. It's still quite tacky, so your hands, if you stop, stick to it. So yeah, it's not dry enough to sand, so there's no point in doing anything else today. I'll just end up making a mess of it. So it needs to set up. I'll come down on Sunday and we'll hit it with a sander and do a little bit more sanding. But for now, that's about all I can do. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm hands off for today. It's not cured enough for me to be able to sand it now. So it's still too tacky. There's no point doing anything. So I'm going to call that a day and we'll come down Sunday and have another go. But thank you for watching Life of Dave. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye for now.